Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to MC Webinars. We're really happy you could join us today. As you know, we're going to be talking about how to market your courses to potential students, a really important topic, especially this week with Careers Week. And we have our FB Sales Director, Anthony Horn, with us today, which is great. He's our presenter. If you have any questions, please make sure you put them in the questions box and we'll get back to them at the end of the presentation. So without any further ado, I hand over to you, Anthony. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Debbie. Thanks. And hello, everyone who's joined us. As Debbie mentioned, I'm Anthony Horn. I'm going to be hosting today's webinar where we're talking about how MZ data can be helpful in helping you to market your courses with a view of careers for the future, which is particularly timely in National Careers Week, which we are flying through right now. Firstly, a very quick introduction to MZ for anyone who doesn't already work with us or anyone who isn't aware of what we are and what we do. We are a global labour market specialist, and we try and use our knowledge in that area and our data in that area to improve local economies by connecting people, which can include students, of course, education, obviously including providers such as yourselves, and also employers and everyone who are helping people get work and move into work. So, in relation to today's topic, using labour market and skills data to help market your courses to students, it's actually worth, I think, just briefly considering the longer or bigger picture when it comes to the student journey and thinking of how data can help in that. So right from engagement through marketing, which is obviously what we're really talking about today, through application and conversion, enrollment, and then through onto the course itself and hopefully through to a positive destination. You can see there are various touch points that we are involved in on screen right now, and really MZ data and the work that we do works right across the student journey, and that's just something I wanted to flag as important really when we're just talking and focusing on marketing to students today. Sorry, it's actually something that we think is an important topic right across the student journey, and good labour market and skills data can help with all of that. But if we do focus in on marketing to students, so attracting students to your college or your organisation onto your courses, maybe it's worth beginning with a thought about what students actually want. So why would they attend your college or your institution? Well, some time ago we actually asked that question to some of our friends in the FE sector, and lots of reasons came back. So lots of reasons why colleges and providers think students attend their courses. But the most common reasons are those that we see appearing on screen right now. And by all means, if you think anything's missing from there, please do stick it in the question box on your screen, and we'll talk about that later on. But a kind of pretty broad range of things there that kind of coalesce around a number of key topics. And if we then think about the college product, which sounds a little bit clinical, but bear with me, and we're talking about courses and we're talking about the service that the college and provider can give to students, we can actually break that down more into the three product levels as described back in the day by everyone's friend Philip Kotler, and we can see, first of all, with the actual product, well, that's the actual course. What's the course title? What's the actual success and achievement rates for that course? Whereabouts will the course be delivered? How many weeks is it going to take? And then if we thought about the augmented or the supplementary product, the supplementary elements of the college product, there are things like wider reputation, Ofsted maybe, the wider reputation of the college amongst its community and employers perhaps. Similarly, what about any experience that a student has already had with you at your organisation, or maybe even their friends or family? And what are things like the wider facilities like You know, is the place welcoming? Is there a good coffee shop? Is there parking on site? Those kind of supplementary things. And then if we think about the core product, or the using kind of Kotler's theory, the benefit that is gained from the product, in this case the course, what makes it most valuable to potential students? Well, I would say that's all about things like employability. Is the course and attending your organisation going to help a student get a job? Is it going to help longer term career progression, both short term perhaps, and then kind of longer term career aspirations? And is it giving specific skills that the student wants to gain for whatever reason, because their employer demands a particular skill, or the area that they want to work in demands a particular skill? And with that in mind, I think it's fair to say we would all agree that the core product is becoming more and more important to students, and I'm sure it's more and more important to you all as marketeers and engagement personnel in the work that you do. So that's just a bit of context as to why this really is such an important topic, not just in National Careers Week, but on an ongoing basis. So how can labour market and skills data actually help with that? How can it help you to drive that core product? Well, I think there are kind of two overarching ways that it can help, which we'll talk about in a bit more detail. So firstly, by explicitly making clear the connection between your courses, or a particular course, and careers or jobs. And then secondly, I think by helping you to show broader, wider, longer term benefits to both attending your organisation and perhaps courses in particular. And we'll talk about those in a second. And then once I've done that, I'll move on to running through a number of examples from our friends in the sector, and we'll have a look at how colleges are actually deploying data to help them with this work across three different areas. So API into websites, in school engagement activities, and then in kind of more broad building of campaign content. So if I begin there by covering off the making the course to career linkage, which is obviously a really important element of what you guys are trying to do in student marketing and student recruitment. So we all know that lots of courses will train for quite specific bundles of jobs. Some will be more generalist. Well, what we've done at MZ over the years is build connections for both cases. So between FE courses that train for quite specific occupations, and also those that train for a more broad brush of occupational and job groupings. But if we take an example here of a travel and tourism course, level 3, well, it links to some specific occupations, and that's not an exhaustive list on screen. And also, I'm not suggesting that everyone who does that course will end up working in one of those jobs, but it's fair to say that the content of that course is directing students towards quite specific occupations. And I would hazard a guess that students who are interested in that course most probably have a decent idea that they want to move into a job or an industry related to what we see on screen there. So what we can do, and what we do is build that connection between the course and occupations, and then take it a step further by, helping to inspire that idea or that career passion that a student might have, by showing not just the linkage between the course and the job, but also the broader labour market data. So how many jobs are there in those particular jobs, either in the area where you operate or in other areas where the student might be interested in living in the future? How are those jobs trending over time? What are wages like in those particular jobs? Again, how does that compare across different regions from a starting salary point of view through to a high-end salary, and all of that kind of information. So making that connection between the course or courses and careers is something that's really important, and something that's fundamental to what we do at MZ. And also, somewhere like our friends at the Manchester College make that connection really well and really visible right from the outset on their main website, there's a lot of talk there about careers and career pathways, and the Manchester College are really good there at showing what career pathways are open to students in the Manchester area and perhaps the wider Northwest area, with some headline information, as I suggested, about salary, job trends, a bit more information about particular sectors and particular jobs within those sectors. So really, really visible stuff right up front and centre on their website, which is really great to see and really core to their mission of driving career passion and career pathways for their students and potential students. What about the kind of wider benefits or the longer term benefits of attending college? And again, if you have any thoughts on why students attend for a longer term reason, please do throw them into the question box on your screen. But if we at MSI think about that wider longer term benefit of attending your college or your organisation, well, here's an example on screen from the Sheffield College and some work we've recently done for them, which is all about showing the wage differentials, so average wage for individuals who have a particular level of qualification and are working in the Sheffield City region. So really, really powerful stuff there about the impact of attending, in this case, the Sheffield College, and the value of that core product that we were talking about earlier on. You know, cold hard facts about how much you are likely to earn on average, which can then be broken down by different sectors and different areas, for example. But some really, really useful information that the Sheffield College have there to be engaging with their students on. Similarly, excuse me, we can use data on certain types of jobs to provide that inspiring view of the future. So, for example, if we take jobs in the gaming industry, excuse me, obviously a very kind of popular and dare I say trendy area to work, and lots of interest from students in getting jobs in that kind of industry. Well, that's good, because the gaming industry is booming. In the UK as a whole, there's 10,000 or so jobs being added across the past 10 years, so it's really flying high. And jobs are kind of spread pretty broadly across the nation, with certain hotspot areas, as you would imagine. But as you can hopefully see, having this kind of information and being able to share it with students who are interested in gaming courses and software courses is going to be super helpful. We can also see, which I find really fascinating, that salaries in gaming jobs are particularly high. This is something, when we ran the analysis recently, really kind of really surprised me and blew me away. So the average salary in 18-19 was £43,000 for jobs versus about £30,000 for all jobs across the nation, and more than 20% of salaries in gaming jobs actually exceed £60,000, which is you know a decent whack. Now, that's not suggesting that someone aged 18 would walk out of a full-time college or provide a course and get a job at 60 grand. That's not what we're saying. What we're talking about here is having the data that can really inspire students about their future career pathway, and really kind of help to catalyze that interest that they might already have in gaming. This is some really, really inspiring and powerful data, I think. Another thing that I think is really important for colleges and providers to be aware of is having actual data and having a view of those career pathways. So I think one of the earlier slides that was looking at reasons why students have attended college and what providers think those reasons are was about career pathways and particular skills. Well, we can help you to show students what career pathways are, either from FE students in your area, perhaps even from FE students from your college, if we have the sufficient data at our side, or just more workers in general. So workers in your region, what kind of career pathway and career trajectory do they actually have? That can either be based off courses that they've taken, just more in general, in particular sectors, whatever it might be. The data is there to allow us to help you to demonstrate what actual career pathways people take, which again I would suggest is a very inspiring and powerful thing to be able to do. So I mentioned earlier there that the MZ, we believe MZ data is kind of powerful right across that student journey, but we're focusing in here on that student engagement through marketing activities and other engagement activities. And what I'm going to do now is move on to running through a range of examples of where our friendly colleges in the sector are actually using data to do just that. So to drive their marketing and to drive student engagement across a number of different areas. Those three areas that I mentioned on an earlier slide. So using API into websites, school engagement activities, and then more broad campaign content. First example is Boston College and how they use the API really well. So again, this is the Boston College main website, and if a student was to search for something like accountancy, they will see excuse me, the different course offerings at that college and the different options and different levels there. And then once they select a particular course, Boston have used the API really well to see labour market data there on job opportunities and salaries in the area, embedded right there within the college website and within each college course page, which is just fantastic, I think. City of Liverpool is the next example. They also use an API to access MZ data, and on their again their main website they have a course finder and a career finder, so different routes in for students. So again, as an example, if we had a student who was searching for or interested in being a nurse in the future, we see on their website some various information there about what a nurse entails. Again, they also, like Boston, bring in some salary data, but they also do something really cool, I think, which is they include information on the top skills that are required in that job and in the related careers. So they link that skills information and how important those skills are to that job, to the range of courses that they offer that can help individuals make the move on that career pathway, in this case to being a nurse. And I think that's really, really interesting and really exciting and quite frankly, really inspiring for anyone who would be using the City of Liverpool College website. So that's API, a couple of examples there. Next, I'm going to turn to school engagement. One of our friends in Wales is colleague Cymwaid. I'm just testing out my Welsh pronunciation today. Apologies to anyone who I offend with my Welsh pronunciation. They have a number of local feeder schools in their area, one of which we see their website on the screen here. It's Ipant, which is a secondary school in their area. So what we've done with colleague Cymwaid is to build specific portal sites for each of their schools, which will be branded for the college, but also the school, so that really drives and personalises the activities that the college runs with that school, whether they be engagements on site, whether they be engagements in the college for school kids to come in and have taster sessions and career sessions, etc. And again, that portal allows students from those schools to see what's going on in that area of Wales and the wider Welsh economy, so jobs and wages and how jobs are changing, just to give them that introduction to their potential interest and their potential future career pathway, which is really, really cool stuff. Another thing that we do through that type of engagement with schools and helping colleges to get a better handle on return on investment, for those colleges using our portal software like Comoid, we can add functionality in there so we can allow the college to track usage at a school level. So we can preload in the feeder schools that your organisation work with, so that then when you're doing those school specific activities, we can get some really interesting metrics. So we can see, for example, for each school that's used the tool, which careers or which courses are being most often looked at by the kids in school. Is there a reason for that? Have you kind of driven your kind of course offering around particular careers or particular courses? If you have, then that's validation. If you haven't, then perhaps you might want to consider directing activities around those more popular careers and or popular courses. So that's a really useful function. Another college who have done and are doing the school engagement side of things really well is Dundee and Angus College. So they regularly top our charts of portal users. So they see kind of quite often more than 1,000 individual users accessing their portal site each month. And over the past 2 to 3 years, they have massively grown their recruitment from local schools. Not suggesting that MZ data is the only reason for that, but the college use it very well and are very happy to shout about it and how core and important it is to their school engagement activities. So they use the portal as the previous example with colleague Comoid across a range of activities, but they also use the assessment tool really well. So this is a tool that allows the college to engage with school kids to find out more about what they're interested in. So the range of questions that people can go through, the kids can go through, that just kind of takes them towards a particular type of personality, and then a type of job that they are most likely to be best suited to at the minute. So it's again just a route, an interesting and innovative route to kind of getting people engaged in data that helps them understand career pathways. And then once school kids have done that, or anyone else who's using the tool has done that, they can see the type of careers they can then dig into a bit more to see what that all means. And then a few more clicks away is the particular courses that would be on offer, in this case at Dundee and Angus, for an individual if they were interested in public service and uniformed services. So again, a college that's doing really, really great work in inspiring and engaging with students to help them understand their potential career pathways based on things that they're interested in. Now, the final area and final kind of couple of examples I wanted to talk about today are around using labour and skills data to drive marketing content and campaign content. Now, those of you who work with us and know us here at MZ will know that we have a lot of data. We love data and we have a lot of it. And sometimes the challenge for marketing teams is I guess, to highlight the bits of data that are most useful, and then use that in effective marketing activities. Now, Craven College are a great example of how they've done that. So they're using our infographics tool, which you see on screen, which gives kind of access to short, sharp data points and allows a kind of a window into some very specific data points that can then be used in wider marketing campaign activity. And the creative team at Craven have done just that. So they've taken the infographic data, so the basic MZ data, and then they've turned it into something a lot more inspiring and a lot more engaging. Some examples of which we see on screen that the guys there at Craven did for National Apprenticeship Week. So that's really awesome stuff, and I think a really, really creative use of data in inspiring marketing content. And then even just this week, I saw that the Sheffield College had used our data to create a number of graphics for National Careers Week. Again, some really innovative, creative stuff there, and I'm sure inspiring and informative to anyone who sees that. So some really, really useful examples there, I hope, and we could have spent a lot longer looking at others. So summarising all of that, what I've talked about in the last 30 minutes or so. So the core product of the course and what that is at your college and provider is clearly important to students, and it's important to everyone engaging with the college right now. There are lots of different elements of career-related data in the labour and skills data world. We have all of that data here at EMSI, and we firmly believe that you should have it too. The good news is there are loads of creative, inspiring ways to deploy that data. We have a load of friends in the sector who, as we've just seen, are doing really good stuff, and at our end we're absolutely here to help with that. So it's all about kind of really using some of that data to kind of drive your engaging marketing activities. And yeah, as we've kind of run through, there are a few different ways to do that, and a few different tools we have at our end that can hopefully help you do that. And I'm more than happy to have a discussion with you about those. So just to wrap things up then, well, what's the kind of the challenge to you? What does this mean for you? Well, I think it's for you to play the guide. That's where our colleges tell us they get a lot of success. So helping your students to see that clear connection between attending your college or your organisation, undertaking one of your courses or number of courses, and then progressing on to a successful career path in the future. And also, as we saw at the beginning, helping them to see the wider benefits of attending college, the future earning potential, their future potential career pathways through particular jobs. So yeah, we are absolutely here to help. We want to help you to drive your student recruitment with inspiring marketing. So please do feel free to reach out to me directly to discuss any of this. And I'm more than happy to share more examples, to share more kind of thoughts on how we can help you in your work, and I'd be really excited to do that. Debbie, any questions or any comments from your side?
No, we have no questions. So you've obviously covered the subject well. Thank you, Anthony.
Fabulous. Must have engrossed everyone with the content today, which is always fabulous. Just one final thing to mention, guys, before we close off this afternoon. Our UK conference is happening in May in Birmingham. Loads of really exciting content there, covering what we've talked about today and various other things. So I really would urge you to come along and join us if you can. Based on the last couple of years, it's a really, really useful, interesting and exciting day, and there's more information on the conference on our website, so please do take a look, and we'll be delighted to have you with us. But in the meantime, thanks again for joining us today. Hope it's been useful. Hope your National Careers Week has gone well, and I look forward to speaking to you all as we go forward. Thanks a lot.